isn't really the issue, right? Like we all have things, we all have unwanted results in our life. And so as we consider those things, my question to you is what if? What if the issue really isn't the issue? So today we are going to dig in. We are going to find the gateway to healing. We always talk about the gateway to our negative experiences, the gateway into drug addiction or into sex issues or whatever. Today we're diving into the gateway into healing. But first, let's create some good karma, y'all. You know, I am going to ask you, let's create that good karma. We get to do that. And in order to do that, what I'm asking you to do is to sprinkle this training onto your timeline. Absolutely, because we know that there are people who need to hear this. There are people who are absolutely hungering for their own healing. And perhaps you can be a part of that. Speaking of healing, if you are wanting to know how to move through and to have the breakthrough in your own journey, just put slay in the comment box. Just type it right in there, and I will be sure to send over the formula for how you can slay every single day into Messenger. I will do that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, y'all. Hello, I'm Heidi Day. I am your soul healer, your trauma conqueror, and your life strategist for badass women who simply want to smile and mean it. And I know that's you because you're here. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, I get it. And today, what we're going to dive into is the fact that, sis, your receipts don't add up. Yeah, your passport is full of amazing stamps. Your bank account is like in places that you never imagined possible, yet there are still spaces within you that just don't fill up. And today we're going to look at 3 ways that you can actually address the core issues and not just the symptoms. All right, this is some juiciness. And so we get to really figure out what this looks like. So when we talk about gateways, we look at gateways to negative life choices, as I mentioned a moment ago. Gateways into drug addiction, gateways into patterns of poor relationships, gateways into being overwhelmed, right? We have all of these different things that are gateways, and we typically look at them like weed. We say, oh, weed is a gateway drug, or alcohol, or cigarettes, or whatever it may be. These things that may be gateway drugs, gateways into the negative experiences. But what if we're willing to consider that those things aren't the issue? The gateways into the negative experiences are what's underneath those things. And today, what we get to play with is that if there are gateways into our unwanted experiences, we can also create gateways into our desired life, into how we really want to show up, how we really want to live, right? Okay, so here is the deal. We're looking at 3 things today, but before we do that, I want us to get all on the same page. Hey, Jackie. Yes, so glad that you're here today. So we may have issues like, oh, I want to lose some weight, or I'm not having the intimacy that I want to have in my relationship, or I'm overworked and I'm feeling really overwhelmed and stuck. All of these may be unwanted results that we have in our life. And then as we begin to do this amazing work, we step back and we say, well, what's underneath that? So underneath, these issues, perhaps we have overwhelm and we have self-doubt and we have sadness. Those are experiences we have. Yes? Makes sense? But then we still get to step back and we get to say, what's underneath those things? And what I'm here to share with you as we are looking at Women's History Month and healing her story is that up underneath all the stuff are the issues that we have from childhood: abandonment, unworthiness, neglect, conditional relating. These are the things, sis, that we really get to look at. And when we do that deep work, which is what we're going to dive into today, that's when we begin to create gateways to healing. All right? Fantastic. So we are coming into the first step of what we get to do as it relates to our gateways to healing. And the number one thing is, if you are not at a place, if you're not at a place where, I'm sorry, you cannot heal if you pretend that it didn't hurt you. Let me say that again, since I bumbled all through it. You can't heal it if you pretend that it didn't hurt you. Now, I know that there are a lot of you that are powerful. You are successful. You have accomplished more than perhaps anyone in your family or anything you ever thought you could. So that your superhero cape is flapping, and rightly so. Like, I'm not taking anything away from that. And what I'm also saying is that there are also things in us, in each and every one of us, that are hurt spaces. So you've been with me for a while. You've heard me say that everyone has something to heal, and everything that we really want is on the other side of that healing. So when we go back to what we were saying before, getting out of that overwhelm, moving through self-doubt, releasing that weight, connecting more intimately, having true joy, and not being in the place of like faux happiness. Or as a client of mine says, I'm almost happy. What is that? And why are we willing to be in that space? Right? So if we are accepting the fact that there's a wounded child in each of us, in every single one of us. Carl Jung began to introduce this work to us, and he really talks to us about that our inner child it's a culmination of experiences and emotions that have shaped our reality from our childhood. The way I say it is, trauma is any negative experience that changes who you are and how you show up in the world. So essentially, again, everybody has something to heal. And if we pretend that this didn't happen to us, or that it wasn't an issue, then we're not able to actually address it. So you can't heal it if you pretend it didn't hurt you. And I see here, we can't heal it. We can't heal it. We can't heal it, y'all. If you pretend, there we go. If you pretend that it didn't hurt you, we can't do it. We can't do it. And so this is not about lamenting in our issues. It's simply saying that, yeah, I had a great childhood, and, I know with my own children, I pray that they will say, yeah, I had a great childhood, and these were the things that I felt or that I experienced. Because that is it's the human condition to have these pieces. And we're going to talk about them a little bit later on. But the number one piece of getting into the gateway of our healing is simply saying and being clear that you can't heal it if you pretend that it didn't hurt you. There's some shit that went on in your life that wasn't okay. No matter how much it was normalized, no matter how much people around you acted like, oh, no biggie. No, these were impactful things, and they changed how you show up in the world. These experiences from your childhood changed how you see yourself, right? And that's what we get to work on. Okay, I'm going to ask you to take a breath, because this next piece is big. It's big, it's expansive, but it's so important. Is so important. I'm only doing 3 things today, 3 little tidbits, 3 very powerful tools. And so this one had to be in there. Let it be neutral. Okay, so I know that this is a big ass request. And I know this because when I first learned about this ideology of letting it be neutral, I felt victimized again. Like, I spent most of my childhood being molested by some person or another. And so when the mentor said, hey, let it be neutral, I'm like, what they did to me, there was nothing new. That was fucked up. Like, honestly, it's how do I create neutrality around that? Because somehow in my mind, the neutrality, the idea that this is neutral meant that it was okay. And it's not. That's not the story. That's not what we're looking at. Here is what we're looking at. We're talking about having emotional freedom. That's what we're talking about. When we allow the thing to be neutral, what happens is we are able to get our power back because we get unhooked from it. And many of my clients, you all have heard me say, you get to be unhooked from it. So there is a difference, a distinction between being unattached and detached. So unattached is just like, I don't have not one fuck to give about it, right? That's detached. Unattached is, I recognize it, I see it, but it's no longer consuming me. It isn't the magnet to my personal life compass. I am able to make choices without having to look through the lens of this horrific situation. Really super powerful. I'm talking about big stuff. And here is the deal. What we resist persists. It just continues. So what happens when we get to let it be neutral, not having that emotional connection to it, and really allowing ourselves into the idea of, okay, this happened and you still survived. This happened and you are still really successful. That happened and you're creating a dream life. We get to play a bigger game when we get unhooked, when we allow it to be neutral. Get unhooked. One of the things I think is really cool is the idea that where focus goes, energy flows. So if I spend all my attention on my story as a victim, then that is who I become. That is how I behave. That is how I show up. That is what my relationships look like. Not interested in that. Not interested in that experience. So I get to be into this new space that says, yep, I have been victimized. However, I am not a victim. I'm not wearing it because it's neutral. It's neutral for me now. So I'm present with it, but I'm not consumed by it. And I know that that's a big one. I know it was a big one for me. If it's a big one for you, I'd love for you to just write big in the box, big, because it's a big one, right? All right, then we go down to our final one, number 3. So in this space of our gateway to healing, what we are essentially doing is we're healing our childhood. We're going back and we're reparenting our inner child. So what would it look like if you ask yourself throughout the day, what do you really need? What do I really need, right? What do I really need? Let's change that. What do I, because I really want this to be personal for you all. What do I really need? When you step into that, then you'll dial into all kind of possibilities, all kind of options that are available. But most of us are so busy in the rat race. We're so busy doing that we don't stop to check in. One of the places that this has become interesting for me, y'all, is around food. It is around food. So I get busy. I'm here in my office. I'm doing all kind of stuff. I'm excited about what I'm doing. And I won't say I forget to eat. I don't make eating a priority. Now, this is the full circle mother moment. And you've heard me say before that I'm healing childhood through motherhood, right? So my son, my eldest son, when he was hungry and sleepy, he was awful. Like he was just, he would become this little demon baby. And I'm like, what's wrong with him? Because I would match his energy. And my husband would come in and say, baby, he's just hungry. He's just tired. Now, as I dial into myself, I can step back and I can say, I'm feeling a little bit listless. I'm not feeling great. What's going on? Oftentimes it's simply, guys, I just haven't eaten or haven't eaten well. And so really stepping back and asking yourself, what do I need? What do I need? This is not a one-time question. You get to check in with yourself all throughout the day. And my activating request with this is also write it down. Like just keeping a journal nearby and asking yourself, what do I need? And then writing that down. And perhaps you even get to tap into, take a breath, hear your child's voice, your inner child's voice, and let her speak. Let her speak. I have a 7-year-old, right? And she reminds me so much of myself in so many ways. And it's an amazing thing because I can then look into her little eyes as she is just doing life. And I can tap into, okay, what is it that she needs? And I ask myself, am I willing to be as loving and as patient and as kind and as nurturing to myself as I am to her? And her requests are often really simple. She wants to color. Mommy, can I have a bubble bath? There are times she may be cranky and I'm like, you need to take a little nap. She loves just dancing and singing. All of these are things that are available to you. They're available to me to reparent that inner child, to recognize what's happening, to recognize what she needs, and then unashamedly, unapologetically give it to her. Just give it to her because you can. Give the singing, the dancing, the coloring, the bath, the nap, the time out, the walk, the whatever to yourself, like without apology. Okay, there's another little bonus that I want to throw in here under this idea of asking yourself, what do you need? Okay, this is so powerful, and I hope that you all connect with it. It is simply this: we get to keep one small promise to yourself every day. Now, if you have been with me for a while, you know that I often talk about JOT, just one thing. What is the just one thing that you're going to get done today? One thing, just one thing. It can be so super small. I'm going to drink my 80 ounces of water. That's going to be my one thing, no matter what else happens. I'm going to get on my Peloton for 30 minutes. I'm closing my circles, all of my circles on my watch today. What is your one thing that you're willing to commit to today? And when you can do that, you're setting yourself up for believing in yourself. We talked about this a few shows ago. You're setting yourself up for not betraying yourself. And here is the magic of this. Here is the goody. When we can embrace discipline as self-love and the basis of soul care, then we are able to have breakthroughs. So I'm going to say this again, because this is my invitation for you. Embracing discipline, doing what you say that you're going to do, not betraying yourself, as self-love and as the basis of soul care or self-care, everything changes. It takes discipline, you guys, which is why I'm going to say that type slay in the box for you, because I have a special tool that can really help you have a breakthrough in your discipline around your soul care. Okay. All right. Now, I'm not going to let you leave without our emotional intelligence bonus. So here is a question that I have for you. What feeling was missing from your childhood? What was the feeling that was missing from the childhood? Another way of looking at that is, what were the unmet needs that you had as a child that you can identify and recognize? What are they? Heidi, what the heck are you talking about? I'm talking about, for me, my unmet need was safety. I just didn't feel safe. Like I don't know. I think I didn't feel safe until I was out on my own. Some people don't feel seen. Some people don't feel cared for. Some people don't feel like they are enough. That was probably my number 2 one. What are your unmet needs? What is it that you really wanted to feel? What is it that you longed for that you didn't? Because more than likely, that need is still the gremlin in your life today. And you find yourself doing all kind of shit because you're still trying to get that need met. Here is an important piece of this puzzle. When you're aware of what that need is, you get to act from a different place. You get to show up differently. You get to become aware of, okay, This is the need. I know this has been the need that has been with me all along, and it's coming from my childhood experiences. And how can I meet this need for myself today? And is it true? Am I safe in this moment? And guess what? I am. I am. Am I worthy in this moment? Guess what? I am. As is. This is so very powerful because as we start dealing into our emotional intelligence and recognizing our needs, we're not operating in the blind, in the dark, blindly operating. We're operating with knowledge. We're operating with intention. We're operating with, okay, like I know safety is important for me. So there are things that I just don't do or places that I won't go. Not because I'm operating in fear, but I know safety is an important value for me. It's an important need. And we get to absolutely do that. So again, my invitation is if you are wanting to get out of your own way, if you are wanting to kind of know how you can push through, y'all simply type slay in the box and I got you. I will message you over a tool that I promise will help you make discipline a part of your self-love journey as the basis of it. As an emotional intelligence trauma strategist, I'm here to tell you that tapping into our feelings and that understanding how we want to feel and how to build that into our life, that is how we win. That is how we have breakthroughs. All right. So here is our speedy recap. As we look at the idea, the possibility that what if the issue really isn't the issue? The first piece that we get to examine is that you can't heal it if you pretend that it didn't hurt you. That shit hurt. Let's acknowledge it. Let's call the thing a thing. That's the first step in moving forward. Secondly, what we get to do is we let it be neutral. Yes, it hurt. And no, you're not an awful person. No, this doesn't define you. Let it be neutral. Get unattached, not detached, but unattached from it. And then thirdly, asking yourself throughout the day, what do I really need? What do I really need? What do I really need? Journaling that, writing it down, and then giving it to yourself. Giving it to yourself. Guys, I'm Heidi Day, and it is my honor to be your soul healer, your trauma conqueror, and your life strategist for badass women who want to smile and mean it. I know that that is you. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you are going to absolutely sprinkle this onto your timeline. And I look forward to seeing you back here next week, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Well Healed Wednesday. You're not going to want to miss next week's episode. I thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Until then, in all your choices, choose to be well healed.